Hey guys, it's Maddie with FTC Creative. Today I'm going to be showing you how to cast a project with Jesmonite AC730 microconcrete. We're going to be casting this cute little bubble tray. So let's get started. First, let's talk about the tools we need today. I have a kitchen scale right here. This scale is just a basic food grade scale. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It measures in grams. That's what we just like to use because Jesmonite is measured in grams. And so we like to keep the same language and same boat under the same umbrella. You guys get it. I also have a silicone spatula and then silicone cups. Jesmonite doesn't stick to silicone. And so to make the cleaning process a lot easier, we kind of like to use silicone tools. Just makes everything easier, makes everyone's life easier. Speaking of silicone, my silicone mold, of course, this is the mold that we are going to be using today. It creates this little guy right here. And lastly, I have my mixing blade. You can get away with hand mixing AC100. However, for our microconcrete AC730, it's a lot thicker and you can't really hand mix as well to make sure it's all incorporated into each other. So we really recommend using a mixing blade. It really makes your life a lot easier. I also, as you can see, have my fancy apron because Jesmonite, like I say in almost all of my videos, Jesmonite can get messy. And that's the fun of it. We're not worried about it. It's water-based, so it washes out really easily. However, it gets messy. So I have the gloves, my apron. Over here, my two-part bucket system. And we love our two-part bucket system because we want to protect our drains. We don't want Jesmonite concrete going down our drains and solidifying down there and ruining our pipes. So what we have here is we have a normal bucket of water, and that's what we use as our settlement tank in our initial rinse. So say I'm using my mixing blade, right? And I have Jesmonite all over it. I would then just go into my first bucket of just plain water, get all that excess Jesmonite off of there, and then I would go into my second bucket of soapy water and then do my initial washing of it right there. That's about all the tools I'm going to be needing and using today. If I have anything else, I'll probably mention it later in the video, but let's get started. Jesmonite AC730 is a two-part system. Part one is an acrylic polymer liquid, and then part two is a cementitious powder base. This is a 5-to-1 ratio, so for that being said, I like to measure in two different cups. I like to measure my powder base into one cup, and then my liquid into another cup. Jesmonite AC730 comes in a selection of pre-pigmented colors. Today we're going to be using Silver Grey Granite. So I'm just measuring it out. And we're using 517 grams of base today. And you guys can see I'm already getting messy. I love a good mess, some may say. Oh my gosh. There, we did it everyone. So I'm gonna set my base aside and my liquid is, I believe, 104. I'm gonna make sure I shake up my liquid. We always wanna shake all of our Jesmonite liquids no matter what, just in case. So I'm making sure my scale is tiered out again, and I'm gonna pour 104 grams in. Well, it doesn't have to be exact. I just wanna make sure I have enough. Kind of like baking, we're going to add our dry ingredients into our wet ingredients in sections so it doesn't all clump up at once. And you guys will see how thick it gets and why I do that. I'm gonna do about a third first. I'm using my mixing blade now. I'm just slowly gonna go in. And I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit more. You might be thinking, wow, that's really runny. I don't know what you mean by no hand mixers. Just wait, you guys, just wait. More. Okay, we're doing fourths, I guess, today. The rest of our mixture in. Should thicken up now, you'll see. You can kind of see like that. I'm gonna go ahead and rinse this off in my two-part bucket system because we don't want it to solidify on there. Otherwise, we're gonna have a Jesmonite mixing blade at that point. So I'll be right back. So this is the thickness of AC730. If you've used AC100 in the past, I like to refer to that texture as a pancake batter-like consistency. This is way thicker than that, and this mold is perfect for AC730 because it has a lot of surface area and it's pretty wide where it can level out pretty easily. If you are using a skinnier mold, say like our bow candle holder, for example, I would then add in a super plasticizer, and that then thins out the viscosity of our mixture and makes it a lot easier to work with. So I'm gonna go ahead and add in, this doesn't have any super plasticizer in it, and you guys can see how much thicker it is when I pour it. It's a lot slower. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna pour a little, about half of my mixture, and then I'm gonna go ahead and just tap. A lot more leveling than AC100. However, we still like to tap and make sure that no bubbles are getting trapped underneath, because it is a thicker material. I kind of like to pinch the edges of the mold around here, kind of like I'm pinching these essentially, so there's no bubbles that form right there. I'm just kind of going around and pinching those to make sure no bubbles have formed down there in any corners. And then I'm gonna go ahead and fill the rest back in. Using a silicone spatula, just getting some excess out to make sure I have enough in my mold. And you can see that I have to keep tapping to level it out. So I'm keep tapping. It seems like I have enough in there. So I'm just gonna tap, 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 make sure it's even on all sides. And I wanna make sure I don't overfill my mold either, because that just makes the demolding process a lot messier and a lot harder. And sometimes that also gives our project an uneven surface. So I'm just gonna keep tapping, and you can kind of see the bubbles around the edges, and I just kind of wanna tap those bubbles out of there. And I like to tap excessively. A lot of people say I tap too much sometimes. I don't think that's the case at all. I love how much I tap because my projects never have bubbles in them. So I'm gonna just keep tapping them out. I feel good about the amount of bubbles I saw come up and the amount of tapping I did. I'm gonna set this aside for about 3 to 4 hours to just set and cure up, and then I'm gonna be back and demold it on camera with you guys. I'll see you then. We're back. This has been sitting for about 4 hours now. It is cool to touch, no longer warm, and that's just kind of how I know it's ready to be demolded. And what I'm gonna do, kind of just lift off the edges of the mold here to break that suction up, and you can kind of see that when I lift it, it kind of just pops right off. And then from here, after I've loosened all the edges around my mold, you can kind of see how they're all loosey-goosey. I'm just gonna take one side, pull it, and peel it back. And then I'm gonna pinch my mold, just like so, and pull. There you go. And then the edges could be a little rough sometimes. And so what I like to do is just take a sanding sponge and just knock those loose edges off, just to make sure it's all even around. And there you have it. So you can see AC730 is super smooth and glossy when you first take it out of the mold. If you wanted to have that more stone-like texture like this pumpkin here, you can see how the agar gets revealed and it's not as smooth and it kind of looks more like your traditional concrete. All you have to do is just soak this in some white vinegar. You can go to my next video and I detail everything on how to acid etch. So there you have it. Now you know how to cast a project with Jesmonite AC730. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below and make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.